In this video, we'll talk about oyster mushrooms. They are relatively easy to grow and available at local market for relatively cheap, at least in Thailand. Okay, let's go. First, I present AI version, which is a shorter version of my presentation, original presentation. So it is, I made it to make it text maybe a little bit simpler and easier to understand. Oyster mushrooms, tasty, healthy, and easy to grow. Oyster mushrooms are not only delicious, but also very good for your health. They can help boost your immune system, reduce inflammation, and even help control blood pressure and blood sugar. Let's break down what makes these mushrooms so special, how they work in your body, and why they might be a great addition to your diet. Oyster mushrooms are delicious, nutritious, and versatile food. Whether you eat them for their health benefits or grow them as a small business, they are a fantastic addition to your healthy lifestyle, even on a low-carb or ketogenic diet, and help to balance your dietary cholesterol intake. Pardon. Okay, so this is again mushrooms with eggs and bacon. It's in England, it is button mushrooms are more popular, but oyster mushrooms are also good. So what is inside oyster mushrooms? Oyster mushrooms are packed with nutrients. They contain prebiotics. These are special fibers that feed good bacteria in your gut. Vitamins including vitamin B2, B3, B5, B6, B11, plus vitamins D, C, and K. Minerals, potassium, phosphorus, sodium, calcium, and magnesium. Bioactive compounds, especially beta-glucans, this is a type of polysaccharides, and antioxidants like ergothioneine, it is amino acid. These compounds, oyster mushrooms are responsible for health benefits of oyster mushrooms. Okay. Key health benefits. First, it's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Cells in your body constantly produce free radicals. It is unstable molecules that can damage your cells. This damage is called oxidative stress, and it is linked to aging and to many diseases. Antioxidants help neutralize free radicals. Oyster mushrooms contain several types of antioxidants, including the following: phenolitic compounds like gallic acid and chlorogenic acid, flavonoids, polysaccharides, and ergothioneine. Okay, this it's amino acid. Okay, you can go to source information. Pardon, the link here presented. And references you can get if you will download the presentation as PDF file from the link in the description. Okay, these antioxidants work in three ways. They directly scavenge, capture, and neutralize free radicals. Then second, they boost your immune body own antioxidant enzymes like superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxide. They block enzymes that produce free radicals. Oyster mushrooms also reduce inflammation. This is over the immune system overactive defense response. They reduce level of inflammatory signal molecules and block inflammation-related enzymes. Okay, second, blood sugar regulation. Several studies have shown that eating oyster mushrooms can help control blood sugar, especially in people with diabetes. Study, this you can link, you can read it, discovered that diabetic women who ate 200 grams of cooked oyster mushrooms daily improved their blood sugar levels. Another study found that diabetic patients who ate 50 grams of cooked oyster mushrooms 3 times a day, so 150 grams in total, significantly reduce their systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure and blood glucose and level of triglycerides. This is a type of fat in the blood, and there were no harmful effects on the liver or kidney. So another study discovered that after 3 months of taking 3 grams of oyster mushrooms dry powder daily, Diabetic men with high blood pressure discovered significant drops in both blood pressure, fasting blood glucose, and glycated hemoglobin. This is glycated hemoglobin. It is a long-term blood sugar marker. How does it work? Oyster mushrooms stimulate insulin production and increase glycogen synthesis in your liver and then also in muscles to store glucose as glycogen. Okay, this is again available quite as powder or fresh mushrooms. Number 3, immune system support. Oyster mushrooms are immunomodulators. It means they can boost a weak immune system or calm down an overactive one. The key players are beta-glucans, these are polysaccharides. These compounds activate important immune cells, including lymphocytes, the T B cells, macrophages, these are cells that eat pathogens, dendritic cells, and natural killer cells. The natural killer cells kill virus-infected and cancer cells. A double-blind placebo-controlled trial found that a hot water extract of oyster mushroom stimulated the immune system without side effects. This suggests it could help prevent infectious diseases and even cancer. Number 4, anti-tumor properties. Research suggests that oyster mushrooms may help slow the growth of certain cancer cells, and water-soluble polysaccharides from mushrooms activate immune cells, these lymphocytes and macrophages, etc. Anti-tumor effects were seen in animal studies at doses 200 or 400 milligram of polysaccharides per kilo of body weight. An interesting laboratory experiment combined oyster mushroom extract with heat therapy. At 42 degrees centigrade, slightly above body temperature, the extract caused cancer cells to apoptosis, to self-destruction, and normal cells survived at these temperatures without problem, but cancer cells cannot. But at 44 degrees, if it is too hot, it caused necrosis of tissues or cells. Number 5, heart health. In one study, 150 grams of cooked oyster mushrooms per day for 1 week reduced fasting blood glucose by 22% with significant reduction in blood pressure. And in placebo-controlled clinical study, intake of soup containing 30 grams of dried mushrooms a day for 21 days significantly reduced levels of triglycerides, these are esters of glycerol and fatty acids, and oxidized low-density lipoprotein in the blood. In another study, this blood pressure decreased on average by 10 and 11% after intake of 3 grams dry powder per day during 3 months. Okay, this is again most important, the healthy heart and cardiovascular system, and the blood sugar regulations and immunity booster. Number 6, gut health. Oyster mushrooms act as prebiotics. This is a food for your beneficial gut bacteria. In year 21, one study on obese rats found that supplementing their diet with oyster mushrooms reduced the growth of harmful bacteria in the gut and increased production of short-chain fatty acids from the fermentation of beta-glucans and chitin. Short-chain fatty acids are very important because they reduce pH in the colon, which helps good bacteria to thrive and improve peristalsis, this is muscle contractions that move food through your gut, help your body absorb minerals better, strengthen the epithelium layer, the lining of your intestines, and reduce the risk of certain cancers. Additionally, oyster mushrooms are effective against some intestinal parasites and nematodes. During fermentation, gut bacteria also produce several vitamins B, group B, and also vitamins, and also improved digestion of minerals. Okay, then next, oyster mushrooms contain lovastatin. This is natural cholesterol reducing drug. Studies show that have between 0.7 or 2.8% of lovastatin by dry weight of mushrooms. This is a lot. They also contain phytosterols. This is plain plant sterols, primary ergosterol, ranging from 0.08 to over 0.7 by dry weight. It's again also quite a lot. Total phytosterols can make up to 10% of the mushroom's lipids, and total lipids can be up to 5% of dry weight. So what do phytosterols do? They compete with cholesterol from animal fats for absorption in your gut. Eating about 2 grams of phytosterols a day can reduce your blood cholesterol level by 8 to 10%. It's a lot. Why might be it can be a problem? Cholesterol is not an enemy. It is actually essential for your body. Your brain contains about 20-25% of the all cholesterol in your body. Cholesterol is a raw material for making hormones like growth hormone, DHEA, it is hormone that declines with age, bile acids, and sex hormones. As you age, your body produces less DHEA and the mentioned hormones, increasing the risk of diabetes, dementia, heart disease, muscle loss, fat gain, bone loss, and even death. Since cholesterol is a starting material for these hormones, reduced cholesterol too much will be harmful. In fact, high cholesterol levels in the elderly are linked to longer life. This is called the cholesterol paradox. Again, quite different from recommendation of the physicians. Also, phytosterols can get into the membranes of red blood cells and make them less flexible. Stiff red blood cells have a harder time to squeezing through tiny capillaries, which can reduce oxygen delivery to tissues and contribute to age-related chronic hypoxia, so low oxygen in tissues. So my personal take as a low-carb enthusiast, if you eat oyster mushrooms regularly, you should compensate by eating more dietary cholesterol from animal sources. Good sources include organ meats, like liver and kidney, egg yolks, seafood, whole milk and full fat dairy like butter, cheese, and cream, full fat cream, and fatty meats also, bacon and fatty beef cuts. Okay, so you can, if you want more details, watch my recent videos for details. Okay, this is again quite surprising, but it was discovered. It's certainly so. The survival is increasing with high level of LDL cholesterol. LDL cholesterol considered as bad cholesterol by physicians, but actually, and high density lipoprotein is considered good, but you see that level of high or low level of high density lipoprotein, which is called good cholesterol, is not changing the longevity, but in both in males and females are changing very little. But LDL cholesterol, low density cholesterol, which is considered as bad, the higher this level, the more is the survival percentage. People live certainly longer, so you have to consider that you need the so-called bad cholesterol. And okay, so growing oyster mushrooms on a small scale. Oyster mushrooms are one of the easiest and most profitable mushrooms to grow. Here's why: it's fast growth cycles. It is only 3-6 weeks from start to harvest. High yields, they produce a lot of mushrooms per batch and in 2 or 3 flushes. And the low-cost substrate, they can grow on straw, coffee grounds, sawdust, and even coconut fiber, which is again available in Thailand. Very easy. Vertical farming, you can grow them in small spaces, like indoor tents, containers. I have personal experience growing about 2 kilos of oyster mushrooms per day using coconut fiber from coconuts. And after harvesting, the leftover substrate with mycelium can be fed to chicken. When mixed with chicken droppings, it makes excellent fertilizers for vegetables. Small-scale oyster mushroom farming is very profitable in tropical countries. This is not my photo. This is how it is grown in tropical countries. Again, it is relatively easy, and it can not big houses, not big rooms are necessary. I was using sprinklers to keep high humidity. Again, and at least in Thailand, these kits are available to grow mushrooms. You can buy already mycelium with bags with mycelium, and you can grow it at home. Like you make a tent and grow it as a tent, or you can buy seeds or the seeds of the mycelium on grain, and then you can go through all stages. It is a little bit more complicated, but much more profitable, of course. So I was growing and enjoyed it. It is really good food. I was eating a lot myself with eggs, and so I would recommend it. Oyster mushrooms at the low-carb ketogenic diet. Unlike dried medicinal mushroom supplements, which are taken in small amounts, fresh oyster mushrooms are often eaten as functional foods in large quantities, up to ½ kilo daily. This is what I was eating myself. They add a delicious flavor and provide prebiotics, vitamins, and minerals. What about phytosterols? Phytosterols may actually be beneficial for your gut microbiome when combined with prebiotics to increase production of short-chain fatty acids. Any phytosterols that get absorbed into your bloodstream are quickly removed by the liver and secreted into the bile. So if you eat plenty of animal fats and organ meats, your liver produces more bile, which helps to remove phytosterols and also support the process of detoxification. So because cholesterol from animal fats and phytosterols are absorbed through the same pathway in your gut, eating more phytosterols means you absorb less cholesterol. That's why I believe that as you can get older, you should avoid sugars, grains, vegetables, fruits, and vegetable oils, certainly, and most plant foods to stay in ketosis. Instead, focus on animal fats and cholesterol-rich foods. Mushroom prebiotics like beta-glucans and keto are available because they feed your gut bacteria, beneficial gut bacteria, which improves your intestinal immune barrier and provides significant health benefits. Keto is only in part fermented in the colon. The undigested part acts as a sponge, binding harmful substances, including secondary bile acids, and help to detoxify your body. Okay, this again, there are many different mushrooms, varieties of mushrooms, and they are quite delicious and easy to grow. Okay, that's all. Next video will be original version of my presentation with all references to the source of information. Okay, so thank you.